Hey friends, we are looking at the Whispers of Rose Botanical set. And this is mostly a mechanical pre-made traditional toy with some brick-built elements. So what we're looking at here is a pot that is all a one-piece base. And we have these three roses, and the three roses are all pre-made, and you screw them into the base. And then everything else you see here are parts that are like brick parts that you click in as you would normally. The only other exception are these little, there's three of these translucent yellow nubs here, and they light up. So those also get pushed into the base. So the base actually does a couple things. It lights up these little guys, and then it also pushes or pulls on little cables that are inside each of these roses. And when it's, I believe it's a push, when it's pushing it, it actually causes the rose to open up. And as a trigger for that, you get this like mister bottle. And the mister bottle has tiny little button batteries inside of it. And it has a switch. And so when you press the switch, you hear something. I'll hold it a little closer to my microphone. You hear something, a spraying sound, and then in a moment, all three will start to open up and they'll bloom. And they do that. They open up, they'll close, and I believe it may cycle a couple times too and do that, depending on the mode that it happens to be in. And you can see where they're lit up here, these little yellow tentacles, and they just went off just now. So yeah, in this video, we'll zoom in a little bit closer. We'll take a look at everything. But this is by far one of the most unusual brick belt sets I've been able to review in a while. Starting with the base, there's this button here, and everything here is sort of rose gold, where you're seeing this chrome color. It's a little bit of a rose gold color, and they're plastic, but it is a nice color there. And this is a button to activate the effect. If you don't want to use the mister, you can just press that and it will activate everything. And then along the back, there is an on and off switch right here. And there's a USB-C charging port, and it comes with a USB-C cable. So you plug it in, it charges the battery, so it has a battery inside it that will then manage all of the lights as well as the cable management. And then of course this thing has its own batteries too. And how the two talk to each other, I am not really sure. It may be some form of Bluetooth or something like that. As far as I can tell, it doesn't need line of sight. And I'm actually going to try to do a distance test. Maybe I'll be able to figure that out. And if I figure that out, I'll add it to the either the description or into the video. Yeah, that's what's going on. It actually has its own battery inside of it. So there's a lot of electronics happening here. And here on the back of this mister, you can see where the speaker is. You can kind of see it peeking through. And then it has some screws to open it up if you really needed to. But you shouldn't need to, because you can access the batteries right there. They're LR, 44s that it needs down there. Okay, and so that is it, and it's all kind of fluted along the edge, and otherwise not anything special. On the bottom, looks as though it's pretty plain as well. Tiny little feet, no rubber feet or anything like that. Okay, and then going up, let's look a little closer at the decorations or the flowers, right? So these are all brick built. You get 255 pieces with this particular set. And everything you see that is this olive green is brick built. So you're building up sort of this like mossy foundation to it. And the green, unfortunately, is not identical to the green that comes with these roses for their stems. The stem roses are a little bit darker of a green, and everything else is more of an olive green. And this pink that they're using is also not a Lego pink. It is its own kind of peachy pink that I don't think is in Lego's catalog. You see these little white butterflies, And these flowers here are yellow versus this, which is sort of a flame orange. So you kind of have to be able to tell the difference on them. It can get difficult from time to time. Large like petal pieces here. I'm not that familiar with Botanical, so I don't know if these are part of the botanicals you'll see with Lego, or if this is a custom piece. I do think it's a really nice custom piece, but it's kind of specific for Lego to do that. I don't know if Lego would do it so specifically to look like it can only be a petal. What I mean by that is usually when Lego makes pieces, they have a couple purposes. You could use it for something else too if you were not trying to build that specific model. And then there is this structure inside in this kind of reddish or dark red color. The best I can tell is it feels like it might be a mailbox, but there's actually a clear orb in the middle of it. And then there's this tiny squirrel. So there's a scale issue here, but you could also think of the squirrel as maybe it's a toy or a tiny miniature in this life-size model. Actually, now that I think about it, it is a scale issue because these guys are too small. This flower is too small. This butterfly is too small. And so the squirrel is scaled with these items here and with these additional floral elements. The squirrel and this butterfly, they're all kind of scaled together. It's the rest of this that is scaled much larger or life size. So there's two different scales going on here. I'm okay with that. It's a way of making it more interesting and detailed. But yeah, I don't know what this is. It's just this structure that's in the middle here. And it's got an opening only on that front side. That's what makes me think maybe it's a mailbox. But who puts a mailbox in the middle of a garden? I don't know. All right, and then since we're here a little bit closer, we'll get a better look at these things lighting up. All right, so let me turn down some of the lights, or turn them off actually. And let's mist it again. You can see it a little bit better. There you go. So you see that it comes on, pulses a little bit, and it's quite bright if it was dark. And because there's that battery inside, you could just leave it unplugged and just every now and then come by and mist it if you want to see the animation of the roses happening. So pretty neat. And let's get the lights back on. And with the lights back on, I'm going to unscrew one of these so you can see the mechanism. Okay, so it was a little bit hard to get it out, but I got it out. And you can see here, there's the cable. And I have to make sure this part doesn't come unscrewed. That would be a problem. But pushing this, let's get it all in one shot. Pushing it opens the petals. So I'm pushing, boom, it opens. So I think that's what's happening is inside the base, there's a motor that's coming up to it and pushing that cable in just a bit. It's only less than 5 millimeters, but that 5 millimeters is enough to open up the petals quite a bit. And you can get a better look inside of that structure there. Yeah, so there are 3 different sizes too. So this is the shortest, and then the other 2 are slightly longer. The other thing I wanted to mention is that these are flexible, the rose stems. So they have a little bit of movement to them. I don't know how they're managing that. So yeah, you can actually have them go in different directions if you'd like to. Let's open that. Let's have them open up one more time. So yeah, this is an unusual model. I think it will not be hard to do or put together for somebody who's built Botanical before. They just have to take their time and just be aware that this right here is a threaded piece as well as the threaded area in the below. So you just have to take your time, make sure you're threading the right thing, thread with the stem and not with the rose, and then that'll help get it in place. The rest of that build is not difficult. It's pretty standard construction for alt bricks. I also like the layout or the presentation of the flowers and the petals. So they intentionally have this area be free of petals, so it has this almost like a front. So it has a front area, and then everything is like a bowl shape with the petals behind it. And so you can tell like the back is the back because there's way more petals. Um, um, or I keep saying petals, I mean leaves. These are leaves. and and so it has a better kind of presentation. You can kind of see the front of it. So I like that it feels arranged in that way. Okay, and yeah, so that is the review. I think it's pretty cool. I'll leave a link to buy it. You can see the price that it was, and check out the unboxing video because you'll see it's got a very strange box. Here's the box, right? It has no image of the product on the box at all, and most of it is in Chinese. As a matter of fact, this is 99% Chinese on the back of it. It's working. I moved it even further. All right, here we go. Is it working? I don't know. I think it is. It totally did. Wow. Yeah, there you go. I hope you got to see everything you wanted to see. If you liked the video, please hit like. And if you could subscribe, that means a lot to me. I can keep bringing and finding unusual things to share with all of you. Okay, thanks so much.